Hi, my name is Brent Pearson, and I've decided to put together a series of 10 videos all about the BMW Nav6 Navigator and how to work with it properly. And the reason I sort of started to do this is yesterday I just got back from a 10-day, 4,000 kilometer ride, and so I've been pretty much eating, sleeping and breathing either route planning for the trip or using the Nav6 for navigation. And I feel like I've learnt a whole bunch of new tricks and learned how to use both Basecamp and the Nav6 properly. And last night I was just browsing through a few forums and I saw the debate come up again of all about, is Nav6 worth it? Is it useful? Or is it better to use an iPhone with Google Maps, etc.? And rather than sort of just chime in, I thought it's probably better to actually create a resource to just talk about how it is used properly, and then that way, at least if people know how to use the Nav6 Basecamp properly, they can make their own judgment. I found when I first bought the Nav6 and I sort of first played around and created my first route, I ended up driving out of my house and I did a loop around the block twice and I still couldn't work out how to get the route to navigate properly, and it was a very frustrating experience. And I think most people have had similar sort of experiences. So to explain why I do think the Nav6 in a nutshell is worth learning and is better than Google Maps, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, it's connected to the bike. So you've got the jog wheel on the left-hand handlebar, and it integrates nicely. It's very usable while you're actually riding without having to take your hands off the handlebars. So that's number one. Number two, and probably the big one, is it's not reliant on a cell signal. You don't need to have cellular coverage in order to download the maps. And unless you're going to be very religious about downloading the maps before you go and caching them, you could find yourself out there with your cell phone trying to navigate without any cell signal. And that's exactly when you actually do need it. So all of the maps on the Nav6 are stored internally, so you never have that problem. I do use my iPhone occasionally, but that's more for navigating places of interest, finding grocery stores or finding those type of areas. But for route navigation, both on-road and off-road, I use the Nav6 and I love the Nav6. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put together a total of 10 videos that'll sort of take you through a series of chapters. So this is the introduction. The next one I'm going to take you through is actually how I design routes, and I don't use Basecamp for designing routes. I use an application called Rever. Then the next video will be how to build the routes in Basecamp and send them to the GPS. I'm going to talk a video about routes versus tracks and how I use the combination of the two, even in an on-road setting. I still do use tracks and routes. And then I'm going to talk about how I create routes that I've built for road navigation, load them and prepare them in the Nav6 before I go on a trip. The next one will be actually navigating the routes and some of the tricks and tips when you're actually on the road and on the bike. Then the following video I'm going to talk about setting different modes on the Nav6, and I have two main modes set, on-road and off-road, and they reconfigure the Nav6 totally for each mode, and I can explain why that's set up that way. And then the next video I'm going to talk about navigating tracks, which is mainly for off-road use, and a few tricks and tips for that. And then video number 9 will be point-to-point navigation, and a few things I've learned just about doing navigation between 2 points. And then I'll finish up with just a final video on just tips and tricks. I'm not going to produce these videos all at once, so I'm going to just put them out, probably put 2 or 3 out first so that it's a usable set, and then I'll just add to them whenever I get some time. So I hope you enjoy.